Your questioning revolved around banking and regulations, but I have to ask you if you're concerned at the moment that the Senate's work is being impeded by some of the drama in Washington, D.C.
Well, there's some drama everywhere, and there's a lot in Washington, D.C., but my focus this morning was the Secretary of the Treasury was the conception of bank relief for small and medium-sized banks in this country that are not any systemic threat to our economy or to our banking system.
Right, and I believe that that's pretty well sort of telegraphed that that's going to go ahead. That doesn't need congressional approval to some extent. Regulators can work on that on their own. But let me ask you once again about things like tax reform. Where is that in the Senate right now? I understand you're working on a plan.
Well, I asked the Secretary about that too today, and he said that they have, several hundred people working on that in Treasury, tax experts, and my thoughts that what we need to lower the corporate tax from 35% down. It's one of the highest in the world. But we also need to give tax relief at the pass-through, the subchapter S, which is the medium-sized and small businesses of America at the same time, because they're the job creation machines of this country.
And how will you pay for those tax cuts, Senator?
Well, that's an excellent question, and he said that we're he didn't use the words, but intimated that if we can't pay for them, we can't do them. And I agree with that. We do not want to run deficits. We want a fair tax code. We need fundamental tax reform, which would really be good for the economy and good for the middle class of America.
But Senator,
we've still got, as you said, how do we pay for it? Absolutely right.
Well, you are making it sound like you're leaving it to Treasury and the 100+ employees that are working on it there. Is the Senate doing nothing about this at the moment?
Well, we've got to wait and see the particulars. I asked him when would we see what's coming out of the portfolio. We hadn't got it yet, but I'd like to see get in the weeds, see what things are and what they could be.
Are you talking about scoring?
Well, that's all part of it, you know.
I'm not quite sure I follow what you're expecting to come out of the Treasury and why that would impact what the Senate plans on doing for its own tax plan.
Well, I'm going to tell you, good fundamental tax reform would really be good for this country, good for the people, and good for the economy.
Absolutely. So what should that consist of? For example, should it have a border adjustment portion? I know you've just said that corporate taxes should come down to 20%.
Well, you got to view everything in the light. Once you tilt the tax code as it is now, the ship could go grounded somewhere else. So we've got to figure it all out. I haven't seen the particulars, but we do desperately need fundamental tax reform, especially for the middle class and small business.
When do you imagine you'll figure it all out? This year or next year? Does it need to be post-investigation?
I would hope that it would happen this year, but we've got to see. All of the other is a distraction, and it distracts from not only the news cycle, but from the fundamental work that we do here.
When you say all of the other, Senator, what exactly are you referring to?
Well, I'm saying anything is a distraction from our work, and a lot of the other stuff going on is a distraction. I'd like to see it clear the deck. Let's move to the fundamentals: tax reform, health care reform, and get the economy moving faster than it is.
All right, there were meetings this week on the Hill, though, about tax reform and about, I mean, Gary Cohn was there, for example. Obviously, other conversations with the Treasury Secretary. I mean, you must be pulling your hair out because the whole country is focused on Russia and leaks and investigations and special prosecutors.
That's what I call a distraction, a big one, and we need to get that out of the way. We need to follow the facts and clear it up and go to the business of America.
Are you happy with how things are panning out with a special prosecutor and who's been chosen at the FBI?
I think the former FBI director, former prosecutor in the Justice Department, Robert Mueller, I think that's a good appointment. He's I believe he'll be above politics. He's experienced, he's thoughtful, he's bright, and we need to clear the decks.